Next, from Springfield, State Treasurer Mike Frerichs holds a press conference to discuss the implementation of a new multi-state partnership that will help people with a disability save money. This runs about 15 minutes.
All right, good morning. Thank you all for being here today. The reason we're here today is for the families like those standing behind me today. And soon you'll hear personal stories about Ram, a 13-year-old 7th grader who wants to become a video game developer and a movie director when he grows up. About Rebecca, a 13-year-old student at Parkland Middle School who loves music. And then there's Grace, the 7-year-old who is the only girl of 6 children who spends a lot of her time playing basketball and hockey with her 5 brothers. These children are all unique, but they are part of a group that has one thing in common: the need for a savings program that doesn't jeopardize their federal benefits. Because of children like Ram, Rebecca, and Grace, and the hard work of advocacy groups like Autism Speaks, the National Association of Down Syndrome, and the ARC, I have the distinct pleasure of announcing Illinois ABLE. The Illinois ABLE program will ease the financial burdens that persons with disability or blindness face every day. Perhaps no group in America has had more financial roadblocks. But today we can finally say that there's a new financial path for a brighter future. As a leader of the National ABLE Alliance, we brought together 13 other states to provide this new investment and savings vehicle for disability-related expenses. This is the country's largest multi-state agreement for this special investment tool. We worked hard with red states and blue states from all across this country to create a national partnership that would provide the best and the lowest cost program to persons with a disability or blindness. In total, the National ABLE Alliance will cover more than a quarter of the entire U.S. disability community, representing the largest program in the nation. And the result of this work is a 14-state partnership that offers an ABLE program with best-in-class investment and banking options and the lowest prices in the nation. The partnership shows that we can identify a problem, put aside our differences, and to find a solution for those most in need. From caregivers to advocates, from children like Ram, Rebecca, and Grace, we know this program will benefit so many families around the nation. And first, I'd like to introduce you to Ram's mom, Cheva Ramos. Cheva?
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Cheva Ramos. On October 17, 2003, my husband Joey and I were proud parents of a healthy, beautiful boy. As we watched him grow, we noticed that something was different, and we continued our search to find out what the cause of his difference was. In August of 2006, we received a diagnosis of our son had an autistic spectrum disorder. Now what? What is autism? Autism spectrum disorder and autism are both general terms for a group of complex brain disorder. Autism spectrum disorder and autism are both general terms for a group of complex disorders of brain development. These disorders are characterized in varying degrees by difficulties in social interaction, verbal and nonverbal communication, and repetitive behaviors. Yeah, that was a lot to process. But we started a journey to help our son as best as we can, not knowing what to expect. My son is here, and I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hello, I'm Romulus Ramos. I'm 13 years old, and when I grow up, I want to be a video game designer and film director.
I have high hopes for Romulus. I hope that one day he will be able to achieve a college degree. But I have to keep in mind that he does have a disability. I do worry about his future and his financial stability. I look forward to the benefits that the ABLE savings plans will allow my family and other families with children with disabilities. It is great to know that not only will I be able to save for his education, but he will also be able to use those funds for whatever necessities he may have that are caused because of his disability, and not have to worry about having any federal benefits taken away. I thank you all for being here. I thank the Treasurer, Autism Speaks, and all the other organizations that are joining together to make this a success. Thank you.
I know various members of the media have been assembled here before to talk about some of the problems in the state of Illinois. I am really excited today to be here to talk about a solution that is going to help real people. These are just a small percentage, a small representation of the people who are going to be helped by this program. But I'm also very much aware that we don't get to do this without partners in the Illinois General Assembly. And I want to thank Senator Scott Bennett and Representative Kelly Burke, who shepherded this legislation through and got it signed. And we are joined here today by Representative Kelly Burke. Representative, please come join us at the podium.
Thank you. Thanks so much, and thanks to Treasurer Frerichs. There's a lot of thank yous. As Treasurer Frerichs mentioned, we were able, after several years, to get this through the General Assembly. But we should also give a thank you to the United States Congress, because it was the federal act that allowed states to set up these programs that really got the ball rolling. And I think it's a prime example of how, when we recognize a problem and work together for solutions, we can come up with something that is so helpful to people and will really just really help folks do what the ABLE Act is supposed to do, achieving a better life experience. So I want to thank my colleagues. This bill went through the General Assembly with overwhelming support. I want to thank the advocates and the families who helped us when we drafted and gave us all sorts of great input on how to make this workable. And just a tremendous, tremendous thank you to the Treasurer and his staff. The rollout of this is they've kept us informed on all the options and the flexibility. It is so much better than it has exceeded my expectations. It's a model for the rest of the United States. It's going to be so helpful to not only Illinois residents, but residents of those 13 other states who have joined in the pool, and hopefully we'll be able to expand that to cover more residents of the U.S. as well. So thank you to everyone involved. Thank you, Grace and Ram, for coming down today, and thanks to the parents for all your hard work and advocacy for your kids. Thanks.
Thank you, Representative Burke. I'm grateful for the work that she has done passing this legislation out of Springfield. I think, as she alluded to, though, we are not done. There is work ahead of us. There are some changes that I think all here believe need to be made, and we are not done fighting. But today is a time to thank the people who got us here. I've mentioned the representative, members of the General Assembly and the State Senate, but this is a fight that's been going on at the federal level for probably the last 15 years. If we got everyone up here who is responsible for today, this could turn into a 4-hour-long press conference. You need members of the General Assembly and the State Senate to pass legislation, but that doesn't happen without an army of supporters, organizations who are organized and got us here today. I want to acknowledge some of those people who are here today. Mind you, this list is far from complete, but we have Jean Bensinger from Autism Speaks joining us here today. Have I seen Pete DeCiani? Not here yet today. Matt Larson from Illinois Spina Bifida Association. Oh, Matt has joined us up here. Okay. So I know there's a lot of work left to do in ensuring financial stability in the disability community. But I believe that Illinois ABLE and the National ABLE Alliance are strong tools in addressing the difficult financial issues that families and people with a disability or blindness face. In the coming months, we will roll out more ABLE functions and continue to be a champion for people with a disability or blindness. Before I open up to questions, I mentioned a lot of groups that got this legislation passed. We couldn't be here today without them, but there are also many members of my staff here today, and we would not be here today without them. I will talk just a little bit when we first passed this legislation and talked with investment managers. And there wasn't the level of interest in this program that I thought there should be. You've heard the stories. You know how important this is going to be for a lot of people. but they said there aren't enough of you. The community is too small. One of our parents here talked about a minority community. And they said, well, we're really not interested. There are not enough people there. And, well, we couldn't grow the state of Illinois in an appreciable manner. What could we do? My staff were the ones who made sure we are here today. They thought outside the box, and they said, we want to work, how do we work with other states? And this coalition is a coalition, as I said, of red states and blue states all across this country, from Rhode Island to Alaska. We have Midwestern states like Iowa and Minnesota and Missouri. We have states that agree with me and my worldview and states that don't. But we all agreed that by working together, we could accomplish a lot more, and we could drive down costs for families looking to save for their children. And that is what's so very important. And as I said, if we were to thank all the people involved in this, we could be here for many hours. This is really a team effort, and I want to thank everyone involved in that. So with that, I think we're all available to open this up for questions.
Very quickly, does this require investment on the part of the state to function, to be part of this group? And does the state budget prices that?
No, this is very similar to our state's 529 college savings programs. We help families save their own money. What we're doing in our office is giving families the tools they need to invest in themselves and their loved ones. But the federal government did something, I think, right. For years, they have kept the asset limits very low. For nearly 30 years, these children could not have more than $2,000 in assets and still be able to receive their Social Security benefits. With this program, these families will be able to save up to $100,000 without jeopardizing those benefits that so many of these children need. No, I say it's similar because it's a similar part of the IRS tax code, the 529 part of the tax code. Your 529 programs, your college savings, you can save money, you can invest it. That growth is tax-free as long as it's used for a higher education expense. For these families, they'll be able to save money. If they don't need it right now, they can invest that. And the growth, they won't pay taxes on. And then as long as that money is used for a disability-related expense. And that covers many, many different things. We're here today to talk about these families. I will say two brief things. One, the governor's office is on the 16th floor. If you want to reach out to him, I would say just very simply as an elected official, as an American citizen, that I think our country was founded on religious freedom, and that an attempt to discriminate against a person based on their religion, there is no place for that in this country. I think that's all I want to say about that right now, because what we're here today is to not talk about differences or fights. Those happen all the times here in Springfield, but this is a time where people came together and worked together, people they didn't necessarily agree with. I mean, we have blue states like Illinois and Rhode Island. We have red states like Kansas. We don't necessarily see the same solutions to our problems in government, but we got together and we worked and found a solution, found commonality, and I think that our state government, our federal government, would work a lot better if people spent more time finding areas they agreed upon than areas they disagreed.
Does this give you any hope that there is room for compromise in Springfield on the state budget and win this year?
Yes, and hopefully this provides an example. I can tell you, we found ourselves at an impasse, that we were not able to find a solution going it alone, and that we reached out to people, some of which who agreed with us and some of which disagreed. And we found that by working together, we could accomplish a lot more than doing it ourselves. And I hope that individuals in the General Assembly and on the 16th floor follow that example.
You're watching the Illinois Channel, an independent nonprofit corporation formed to provide gavel-to-gavel coverage of Illinois state government and other public affairs events taking place across Illinois.